Hi. Good evening. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Looks like link has been changed. That's the reason why people are still joining. My weekend was good. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's 40 members, so it's okay. So guys, have you done your last exercise like task, Beanstalk? Did you try it? Nice. Excellent. Excellent. Superb. Okay, so what we're gonna take today is basically S3. Let's jump on to S3. Yeah. Okay. So let me take that material, storage. Okay. So guys, we know already a bit on S3. S3, I'm telling you, S3 is very simple service, but the only thing is we need to, there are so many features in S3, like, we need to learn this. But, the lab, of course, every lab till now are simple because that's how we are learning it. But even S3 is also like the similar kind of things. The lab will be simple. And the only thing is we need to learn little bit more deeper because we need to answer interview and certification questions, right? Yep. Okay, so let's go ahead. What is the full form of S3? So let us write down whatever we know about the S3 here. Your voice is breaking. Hey, my voice is clear? Yeah. You might find my voice little bit today, a little bit lower energy because I'm not that well today. But yeah, please bear with me. Okay. Okay. S3. So simple. Thank you, Prasad. Thanks for that kind word. Simple storage service. Simple storage service. You know very well that S3, like whatever in AWS start with simple and end with service, and it is a storage, right? S3 is a storage. Guys, do you remember S3 is global or regional? S3 is global or regional? Did we learn that? Excellent. S3 is global. Very good. And S3 is what based storage? Object-based storage. Fantastic. Let me write down whatever we know on S3. Okay. S3 is object-based storage. So in S3, what kind of files that you can store? In S3, you can store all flat files. Okay. So in S3, what we can do, we can only just upload and download and access it, right? Do you agree? You can only upload, download, and access files from S3. Okay. Files in S3 can be executed. The files in S3 cannot be executed. Is it possible to install any operating system on S3? You cannot install OS databases, etc. in S3. Not possible. Is it possible to attach S3 to EC2 instance like a volume? No. But can you access S3 from EC2 instance? Rightly said. Well said, guys. Well said. So you cannot attach S3 to EC2 instance, but you can access S3 from EC2 instance. Okay. S3 is limited storage or unlimited storage? You guys are super, yeah. It's unlimited storage. Very nice. What is the advanced feature that S3 supports? Hmm? Anyone remember that? Of course, S3 is serverless, but excellent, Ram. Static website hosting. Do you remember that? Right? Excellent. S3 supports static website hosting. Very nice. Do you think that S3 is cheaper than EC2? Yeah. So we know all these things, guys. And what is the main thing that we create in S3? What do we start with? Buckets, right? What is a bucket, guys? What is the definition of the bucket? Can I say it is a container of objects? Nice. What is an object? What is an object? Object is a file. And what is a key? Name of the object. So name of the object is called the key. Guys, do you understand till here? We know all these things till here. Is it clear till here, everyone? Excellent. So let us talk with buckets here. What are these buckets and all? We know very well that buckets are the container for objects, right? So I'll write it here. Buckets are containers for objects. Very well. And guys, and do you see, you can create the buckets. So as you rightly said, guys, S3 is global. S3 is global, whereas buckets are regional. So that meaning you can create the buckets regional wise. Even though S3 is global, guys, in EC2, EC2 is regional, right? You can launch an EC2 instance in Mumbai, but can you see that EC2 instance which is launched in Mumbai in Ireland? Or can you see all the EC2 in one shot? No. No, right? We cannot see that. But whereas here in S3, buckets you can create in different regions. Basically, buckets are regional and S3 is global. So you can see the list of all buckets in all different region in one shot, right? S3 is global, but buckets you can create regional. Buckets are regional, right? And also, bucket names are universal, guys. Universal meaning you cannot create a bucket called test because someone might have created in the world. Buckets are universal and unique. If someone has created a bucket called test, you cannot create it, even though you are not in the same account. Everyone have our own accounts, right? S3 account, like AWS accounts. Everyone have our own AWS accounts. So basically, and whatever the buckets that you create in your accounts, the bucket name should be universal and unique. So you cannot create with the names called test 1, 2, 3, my bucket, your bucket, our bucket, etc., etc. All these have names have been already taken. If someone is using with that bucket name, you cannot create it. So you have to create your bucket names with some prefix, like you can have your company name or project name or something unique. You need to create it. So bucket names are universal or unique. Bucket names are universal or unique. And also you cannot create bucket under bucket, guys. Bucket under buckets are not possible. Bucket under bucket is not possible. So you can create a buckets, right? But you can create folders inside the buckets. Guys, in Windows, what we do, we'll create a main folder. Inside this, we create subfolders. The same way here, you can create a bucket, but you can create subfolders inside it. You cannot create bucket under bucket. The main folder, we call it as bucket. And you cannot create bucket under bucket. What is possible? You can create bucket, and inside that you can create subfolders. You cannot create call it as bucket under bucket. So no nested bucket concept, guys. No nested buckets. That meaning bucket under bucket is not possible. Or bucket under bucket under bucket cannot be created. Guys, can you create the different buckets in different regions? You can create multiple buckets in different regions. Yeah. And the maximum number of buckets you can create in the account is 100. These are all certification questions, guys. So maximum number of buckets you can create in S3 is 100. And of course, 100 is a soft limit. You can increase. For everything, you have a soft limit, guys, and you can increase it if you want. So by default, how many buckets you can create in an account? 100. Okay. Question for you here is, by default, okay, you create a bucket. By default, the buckets are public or private? By default. Excellent. So by default, buckets are private. If required, you can make it public. Do you remember that I told you everything is public, everything is private unless you mention it? So by default, buckets are private. Buckets are private. If required, you can make it public. Guys, is this clear here, everyone? Nice. So let me create a bucket here. For example, this is the bucket. And this bucket name, I would call it as 6:30 p.m. bucket, for example. And when I create a bucket, by default, it is a private bucket. And this bucket can be in Mumbai region. Yes, this bucket can be in Mumbai region. Okay. And inside this, inside this bucket, I can go and create a folder called photos. Can I do that? Yeah, I can create a folders. And inside this folder, let's assume that I have uploaded a file, an object called puppy.jpg. All right, puppy.jpg. This is the file that I have uploaded inside. So what is the bucket name here? 6:30 p.m. bucket is a bucket name. And what is the subfolder here? Photos. And what is the object here? Puppy.jpg. Puppy.jpg. Okay. And see, I took an example of Google Drive, right? In Google Drive, whenever you upload any file, if someone can access your file with the URL, right? Possible, right? Yeah. So for every object in S3, you have something called endpoint. What is that? Endpoint or URL. We call it as URL. Using that endpoint, we'll access that particular object. How does that endpoint look like? Is like this. HTTP :// 9 a.m. Sorry, what is that? 6:30 p.m. bucket dot s3 dot amazon aws something .com / you have something called photos / puppy dot jpg. This is how the URL, the endpoint of the object will look like. So this is how you'll be looking at. So I saw a certification question here, guys. Sometimes they will give you the URL and find out, guys. Inside this, what is the bucket name? This guy is the bucket name. All right, this guy is a bucket name. This is the bucket name. Okay. And what is this entire one called? Can we call it as domain? All these things. Till here, we call it as domain. Yes. This is okay. This is domain, right? And then what is this here photos called, guys? These photos. Subfolder, right? But here we should not call it as subfolder. We have a name called prefix. What is that? Prefix. Prefix is nothing but subfolder. Prefix is nothing but subfolder. And your puppy.jpg is a this puppy.jpg is a object. Puppy.jpg is a object. And the whole one, the whole thing, including photos till puppy.jpg, all these things we call it as key. Guys, without key. So if you have the bucket also, without knowing the subfolder, can you access puppy.jpg without subfolder? Definitely no. So if you want to access something, you need to have the entire path that is called the key. Name of the path, object path is called the key here. Is this clear? Both are same. Yeah, both are same. Both are same. Is this clear, guys? Still here, everyone? Guys, can you give me 5 minutes? I'll just take some tablet and come. 5 minutes, please. Hi guys, sorry, I'm back. Can you hear me? Yeah, sorry for that. I have to take some medication. Okay, well, so I hope it is clear till here, right? So this is a bucket name and this is the domain. And remember guys, if you want to, basically, if you want to access any object, make sure that you should have a prefix if at all if needed, and then we need to access using this object. Like the entire one is called the key here. So for each and every object you have a endpoint, or we call it as URL, endpoint or URL. You can access that object using this particular endpoint. Okay, so now let us go to the next topic here called versioning. Because what is versioning? What do you think about versioning? Versioning is versioning only, huh? Version. Yeah. Updating. So basically, if you have a file and you update that particular file, in the backend, versions will be created. Is this what you want to tell, right? The same thing exactly here, guys. That's true. So can I call versioning is like a backup tool? So whenever you have any object inside the bucket, and if you enable the versioning, and whenever you update that particular object in the backend, versionings will be created. So let's say you have ABC and one version with ABC is created, and you have updated with DEF, and that ABC and DEF with the next versioning will be created. How many times that you update the file, those many versions files will be created in the backend. So guys, so if my object got deleted, can I get my object restored using this versioning concept? Possible? Yes. So basically, can we call versioning is like a backup tool? Yes. Versioning can be called as a backup tool. And by default, remember guys, versioning is not enabled on our bucket. If at all needed, you need to enable that on the bucket. And that to remember, we need to enable the versioning on the bucket level. See, and that will be applied to the objects. See, if you have millions of, let's say if you have 500 objects, guys, so is it possible to go and update enable the versioning for each and every object for 500 objects? No. So we will be enabling this versioning feature on the bucket level, but it will be applied on the object level. It will be applied on the object level. Guys, by default, versioning is enabled. No. If required, we can go and enable. And the versioning is enabled on the object level or bucket level? Bucket level. And but we applied to object level. Excellent. Let me write down that. Nice. So versioning is like a backup tool. Okay. And by default, versioning is not enabled on the bucket. Okay. And versioning is enabled on the bucket level, but applied on object level automatically. Yep. Okay. So do you agree that this versioning, whatever the files that you are creating in the backend versioning, every file will have a unique version ID? Version ID will be always unique? Yes. Version ID is always unique. And can we download that version files anytime? Yes. Versioning files can be downloaded anytime. Okay, let us see how this look like. Just imagine we have a bucket here. This is the bucket, guys. Okay, and I created a bucket, and the bucket name is, you can call it as some versioning bucket demo something. You can create a bucket. Okay, so and while creating a bucket, I'll enable the versioning. Versioning is enabled on the bucket level. Okay, once the versioning is enabled on the bucket level, see how it happens. Let's go and try to upload an object called puppy.jpg. You can take any object, but I'm used to it for a puppy.jpg. Guys, puppy.jpg. Okay, so whenever I upload this puppy.jpg, guys, and you have enabled the version 1 will be created. Yeah, version 1 will be created. Good. And if I update something, version 2 will also be created. And after update third time, version 3 will be created. Do you agree? Right? So first one, we call it as version 1. And then here we have something called version 2. And then here something called version 3. Which is the latest version out of these three? Version 3 is the latest version. Nice. So how many times you have uploaded puppy.jpg with the same name, those many versions will be created in the backend like this. Right? Those many versions will be created. So remember, you have to upload with the same, puppy, basically object name, right? And these versions will be created like this. And V3 is the latest version at the moment here. Okay. Okay. The same way, if you upload the new object, let's say I have uploaded an object called index.html, right? Version 1, version 2, and version 3. This will create like this. And here I have updated 3 times, right? And the version 3 is the latest version. Example. Okay. Now, guys, just in case someone has deleted this your original object. Someone has deleted the original object called index.html. Someone has deleted it purposefully or intentionally or unintentionally. This object got deleted. Guys, whenever this object got deleted, now do we have a chance that can we restore it using these version files? That is the concept of versioning, right? But here the thing is, whenever the original object is deleted, a marker will be applied. That is called delete marker. What is that? Delete marker. A label will be applied for the latest version in the backend. What is that? Delete marker will be applied for the latest version. So what you need to do is, if you go to that versioning and you delete this delete marker label, and your original file is now restored back here. You got the logic, guys? So if someone has deleted the original object, and the label will be marked in the backend on the versioning called delete marker for the latest version. Delete marker, you can see the marker called delete marker. You see the name called delete marker. Whenever you see the name called delete marker, just confirm that someone has deleted the original object. And how to restore it back? It's very simple. select this delete marker and delete this delete marker, and your file is restored automatically here. Guys, do you understand how to restore the file or restore the object? Simply delete the delete marker and it will be restored. Guys, do you understand this logic? Everyone? Nice. Nice. Good. Okay. So now, can you download version 1? Yes or no? I need responses. Yeah. Can you download version 2? Yes. Right. And then you can download version 3 also, latest version. But remember, you cannot download the delete marker. No, you cannot download the delete marker version. You cannot download it. What you can do, you can only delete it. So if you get something called delete marker here, you cannot download that version. So you have to, there is only option called delete it. If you delete this delete marker, object will be restored. Remember, you cannot download the delete marker version. These are all certification questions, right? Let me write it down here. Okay. So if you delete the original object, delete marker is applied on the latest version. Agree? If you want the object to be restored, what do you have to do? Delete the delete marker and your object is restored. Your object is restored. Is it possible to download the delete marker version? These are all certification questions, guys. So you cannot download the delete marker version. What you can do? You can only delete it. You can only delete. Okay. So guys, that is good. So now versioning is enabled on the bucket. Let's say, for example, all of a sudden you don't want to have the versioning in between. That meaning you want to suspend it. You want to suspend it. There is no option to disable it, guys. Remember, there is no option to disable it. What you can do is you can only suspend it. What you can do, you can only suspend it. You cannot disable it. There is no concept of disabling it. Once you have versioning is enabled, you can only suspend it. You cannot disable it. Both are same, but there is the wordings are not there here. So once you have enabled the versioning, you cannot disable it. What you can do, you can only suspend it. Because what is the meaning of suspend? So temporarily you can go and basically stop the versioning. Let's say you have puppy.jpg index.html. After that, later you had decided that you need to suspend. Yeah, go and suspend. Suspend. Suspended. Versioning suspended. Versioning suspended. It's your wish. Anytime you can go and suspend it. Right? So anytime you can go and suspend it here. Okay, now guys, if you have suspended this here, do you expect to get after the versioning is suspended, do you expect to have a versioning concept if you upload any object here? No. So let's say, for example, you have uploaded something called hello or hello world or test.py file or something. Yes, test.py file. If you upload this test.py file after the versioning is suspended, you see what happened. Latest version will be created. Remember, guys, latest version is created. Latest version is created. And if you try to update test.py multiple times, do you get version 1, version 2, version 3, all these things here? No. No. Let's say, for example, someone has deleted this test.py. If you deleted this test.py, delete marker will be enabled. Delete marker is enabled. But guys, remember, if you delete this delete marker, the object is restored now. The object is restored? No. How, Harshavardhan, how can the object will be restored? Because you have the versioning suspended. Is it possible to restore it while the versioning is suspended here? No, you cannot restore it. Cannot restore. Cannot restore. Is this clear for you? And keep this in mind that, hey, this, see, remember, S3 is for putting and write once and then read many times. Okay. So don't try to enable the versioning for huge objects. Keep that in mind because AWS charges for versioning. Okay. So AWS charges for versioning. Yeah. Sorry for that. So AWS charges for versioning. So remember, guys, be careful. So be careful while you enable versioning on huge files. On huge files. And I also try to write this here. Guys, what happens if the versioning is suspended? If you upload a object, if you upload the object after the versioning is suspended, the latest version will be created as usual, right? But if you update the original file, versioning files are not created because you have disabled the versioning here. You have disabled the versioning. No, if the versioning is suspended, no, it's gone. You cannot retrieve it. That's a concept, right? Ram. So if you delete the original object, delete marker will be applied. This marker will be applied. If you delete the delete marker, object will be restored? Not be restored. Why I'm writing all these things? It will be easy for you to read later. Okay. Guys, is this clear till here, everyone, about the versioning concepts? Everyone? Don't worry, we will see all these things in lab. Okay. Okay. Some super certification questions here. Guys, S3 is limited storage or unlimited storage? S3 is unlimited storage. And you know, the minimum object size, these are all certification questions, guys. So minimum object size can be 0 bytes. What? How much? Minimum object size can be 0 bytes and maximum object size is 5 terabyte. 5 terabyte. Guys, 5 terabyte. You can say that, sir, what, sir? You just said AWS S3 is unlimited storage, but maximum size, you are saying 5 terabytes. Guy, I'm saying one single object maximum size is 5 terabytes. You can have unlimited number of objects. All right? Single object maximum size is 5 TB. You can have unlimited number of objects in single bucket. Make sense for you? Nice. What is the object size is 6 TB? What if the object size is TB? You cannot. Okay, hold on. So basically, remember, guys, can you tell me this normal logical question? Is it possible to upload at least 10 GB of, let's say you have 10 GB of file to S3 using our internet? How much time will it take? Is it possible to upload 50 GB or 100 GB file using our internet? How much? It will take a lot of time, right? Definitely will take a lot of time. So here AWS says that, hey, AWS says that you cannot try to upload the 5 terabyte as a single, maximum size is 5 terabyte. But remember, for single put, you can upload maximum 5 GB. Maximum 5 GB. Now we can have a doubt, sir. Maximum you said 5 terabyte. Now maximum upload you said 5 GB. Yes, guys, you cannot have the entire file as a 5 terabyte. You can in one put you can have maximum 5 GB. And rest, guys, what you can do is here AWS has implemented a feature called multi-part upload. Multi-part upload facility. Or in shortcut, you can call this MPU. Multi-part upload facility meaning, so this file, each file basically, let's say you have a 5 GB file. Each file is breaked into multiple files. Each file can be break into multiple files. You no need to do this basically. This MPU, multi-part upload facility, will do it for you. You just need to mention how many different files that it has to be break down. And MPU will break down, and then it will try to upload to S3 with one by one as a part by part, right? And eventually in S3 we'll have the only one single object. One single object. Got this, guys? So here maximum is 5 GB. So in single put, how much you can put? Maximum each part can be maximum 5 GB. And if you have 5 terabytes, you need to try to include different parts, basically break down in different parts. But remember, guys, do you dare to upload 5 terabyte of file using our internet connections? If you have such a huge file, what is the service that you should use it to transfer? Right. Snow family. If you have, because Snow Cone is coming with 8 terabyte, right? If you have such a huge data, please use to do physical transfer. If you have small things, you can go for multi-part upload facility. And of course, even AWS recommend that if you have greater than 100 MB, he'll say that try to use MPU. He says that's how serious it is, because he don't want to choke your internet bandwidth here. Got this, guys? Is that clear? So these are all the certification questions. Please take care. What is the maximum object size here? What is the maximum object size? 5 terabyte. In single boot, what is the maximum you can put? You can push it. 5 GB. What is the minimum object size? What is the feature that you should use it for bigger files to upload? MPU. Clear, guys? Let us stop it here. Okay. So please take the photos here. Let me know once done. And this. Done. Great. Sorry if you feel my energy is a little bit lower because I'm not well. Hope you understand. Right. I think so. I think you got these topics, right? Only about the S3 and then versioning. Excellent. So guys, can I give me the final CC for today? Thank you. Yeah. Ram. Excellent. So guys, that is all for today, and I'll see you tomorrow with the next continuation of S3. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Good night. See you tomorrow.